Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm here with Ninju85 today, and we're going to be covering Group E, the game between Prince Ali, BB Scythe, and Mr. Durr. Quick preview to this game for everybody. BB comes in with 8 points and is probably already a lock to move on to semis. We're of course watching the 4th round of qualifiers. Mr. Durr and Prince Ali are at 7 points each and likely each need one win in this game tonight to get to that precious 8 points and advance to semifinals. So they're both looking to get at least one win. BB won the last tournament as his first tournament win and is the defending tournament champion. Durr is the favorite almost in any round he's in, to be perfectly honest, or at least one of the favorites in almost any round he's in. He's made it to almost every tournament final and managed to walk away with 2 different tournament wins. But he has uncharacteristically struggled a little bit in this tournament, and it's not criticizing him at all. I think he said the same thing about himself. Kind of made some mistakes along the way that were uncharacteristic, and that's him talking, not me. And finally, we got Prince Ali, who's looking to advance to out of qualifiers into the elimination rounds for the first time in his tournament history. Very good player, but having his best tournament so far. So, Ninju, welcome to the stream, and
thank you.
I think this is going to be fun. All right.
So they're figuring out the pick. So BB picked Crimea for the first pick.
All right.
Not a surprise. Okay. Prince Ali picked Rusviet.
Right. So I think Durr probably goes. Okay, Nordic Patriotic.
Nordic Patriotic.
The looks like Prince Ali just went Rusviet Engineering. So Nordic Patriotic in the most recent tier list is an A tier combo. Rusviet is considered an S. BB says he's torn between industrial and mechanical. Oh, and industrial it is, he says. So we've got S tier Crimea Industrial, which I think is probably the favorite in this combination. S tier Rusviet Engineering, and A tier Nordic Patriotic. Crimea Industrial often will go for buildings if they don't have a good objective. So could save you a reset potentially if you want to try to save your reset for another combination. And here we are in turn 1. We got here just in time.
Nice. So, I mean, we got the fastest is going to be Crimea Industrial, then Rusviet Engineering. Both are going to struggle with power somewhat. Nordic has a ton of power, but kind of going to be a much slower, higher economy. I think they're going to focus around controlling their metal. That's sort of their source of money and source of power, is their metal tile in their base. Rusviet won't be able to.
That tile's not particularly vulnerable in this game, which is nice for Nordic. We don't have Saxony in this game. We don't have Polani in this game. No one. The only way Crimea can get in is through that tundra, and so the space to watch for them is, do they move units to that wood tunnel in their mid game? The other thing to look for is, does Nordic pull metal off that first encounter? Because that can do a lot, especially with the Patriotic map, just speeding up those mechs and those stars. Nordic Patriotic can end in 15 with the right encounter, but otherwise they want a slower game. You see this this opening move out of BB here? Moving off the farm onto metal.
Yeah.
This could mean a factory rush out of Crimea Industrial. So we'll just have to see there.
Probably. That's definitely a deviation from the standard opening. Let's see. They're already the fastest. No. I mean, not according to Group A. Yeah.
It's just unusual for Durr to take this long for an opening turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe he was mathing out whether he could run the strat he came up with before Crimea blocked it.
Yeah, with that move by Crimea, he probably had to recalculate like turns for the critical point, and if that's too quick, he can't. He has to change it, and then yeah, he's just calling an audible probably.
Still
We'll
going
see.
with the oil.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to on a patriotic agricultural board. A lot of times you have to start with that.
We
Yeah,
got
so the
it.
nice thing for Nordic Patriotic is yeah, neither faction can get to that vulnerable metal tile easily. Let's see here.
Dur does upgrade the enlist first. So he may still be going with some variation of the strat he typically likes to use,
Yeah,
but still trying to go for early enlist, which may end up hurting Crimea a little bit because BB's going for quick mechs here, it looks like.
late this. Yeah.
Now,
So,
okay, he's taking a structure
ooh,
here, so a mine. Quick,
let's see.
quick mobility out of Crimea. Crimea could conceivably be in Rusviet's base pretty quickly if they so desire with a Riverwalk and a speed mech here, because we're going to see a produce into a deploy out of Crimea, quite possibly the speed mech. Moving a
Guessing that.
worker to the tunnel and moving the character out could set them up for another produce and then a factory very quickly.
hmm You think they're pretty happy to have that mine since they're going with the theme of playing literally as fast as possible?
Yeah, I think the mine, it's a little hard to math it out in real time, but the mine means the speed mech's the only one you actually need to get to
So it's 3 turns to the factory now. Or let's see, move. Yeah, they're 2 turns away from the factory. Round 6,
I count
I believe.
7.
7. Okay.
Gonna move in 5, do something
Move.
else, move in. Wait, no.
No, 6. I believe. Or
Move in 5, do something else in 6, get to the factory in 7.
7. Okay, yeah. So that's the standard opening from Rusviet Engineering. Uh,
And they got the dream encounter right here. 2 popularity for 1 upgrade and 2 food. That's going to let them upgrade probably their move,
yeah.
probably their almost certainly the enlist, and get that power enlist, which Rusviet Engineering needs that power enlist so badly. That's the difference between a Rusviet that has almost no power after a few rounds and a Rusviet that's got like 4 or 5 power after a few rounds. It's a great encounter out of Rusviet out of the gate. And going with 5 workers, they can afford to take it.
Yeah, that's very lucky. That's exactly what they wanted to see. I mean, you're happy if you see the food, like a way to get the food into that first move, but with that upgrade and the food, that's ideal. So in case other people aren't aware, some of the viewers for Rusviet Engineering, basically, the way you play it is a couple upgrades, like 2 upgrades, and then when you go for your deploy, you trade for food and then move off that. But you want to play to move to encounters and depend on those for a couple of your enlists to
Mhm.
play it quick enough.
That's certainly one way to do it. If you manage to get an enlist off of that first encounter and you upgrade your deploy twice and your enlist once, you will that will be 3 produces and give you 6 metal. You then can trade 3 different times for food, and suddenly you have enough food for 3 enlists and you have all your mechs. So
Okay.
that pulling that 3 resources for
Oh,
Nordic,
they
that's
take the metal.
huge.
They're
That
very
means
happy.
that means a mech before Crimea can move. And Crimea is setting up on that mountain to potentially ruin Nordic's life up there. That's
Yep.
huge, especially considering we've got a Crimea with no cards right now. But yeah, that can be a 14. This can be a 14 turn in for Rusviet now with that enlist off the first encounter.
hmm
If they can find combats and have a better score, of course, than the other faction.
Yeah, they're probably. I mean, they don't mind the Crimea Industrial too much. I don't think because that's a low power combo. Makes things a little easier. They're out on the map early. The Nordic Patriotic's going to be kind of hard. I think Nordic Patriotic still in trouble here, um, even with the metal encounter. Are you kind of concerned for Dur here with Nordic Patriotic?
I think you consider bolstering for a card if you're Nordic right here,
Yeah.
because the fact that Crimea got that mine was pretty amazing because they could get to the factory quicker, which is obviously what they're trying to do. But on top of that, Scout, which just came out, can be the second mech. Otherwise, they would have had to go Riverwalk.
Oh,
So it kind of accomplished two things at once. Really surprised to see Dur produce here.
it opens up the
Um,
quick Scout, which is insanely strong. I mean, Scout is just a huge power spike for Crimea.
yeah, well, there's no mech to fight on that farm, but Crimea so far going with a 5 worker strat can afford to bump those workers and really set back Nordic's economy. Nordic perhaps, yeah, that's a real.
So they can.
I mean, I think
Oof.
that mech probably without those workers is going to that farm for the second move here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
and it does.
So they took the combat cards with their enlist instead of deploying. So they chose not to deploy. They basically forfeited those workers
Hmm.
in
I
in instead of being taxed by the scout over and over
and
again.
there's an objective technical,
Okay, so
whatever.
that was that machine over muscle,
No, that was
or
the
no, actually five
technical whatever. You know, it's I forget the name. It's one factory
tactical.
card and technical breakthrough. One factory card and
Oh,
0
no
upgrades.
upgrades. Yep. Okay.
Technology breakthrough. Technology
Yeah,
breakthrough. There
technological breakthrough, I believe. But
we go.
so when they is that they played it off that. That's why they went so quick. With their opening, they moved right away.
Yeah.
It's kind of a creative opening from BB though.
I mean, on one hand, you don't have to rush because you're often not going, unless you get it off an encounter, you're often not going to get an upgrade with Crimea Industrial anyway. But maybe what they were worried about is Rusviet getting to that factory and using People's Army to essentially lock them off. Rusviet not having to worry about Crimea right now because Crimea doesn't have Riverwalk. Um,
Yeah, so that was a nice encounter for, even though it's not an easy, sorry, an objective. So even though that's not an easy objective, like in general, they didn't have to reset. BB didn't have to reset because this board doesn't need to play with an upgrade, basically.
Ninja, did you see Crimea's factory card?
Let's see here. Actually missed that. Okay, so two coin to enlist, ooh, and to power. That is amazing. I believe, because they're slower on the
Mm-hmm.
enlist than the standard play, and now they're able to kind of catch back up, and also they're power deficient with this combo. So
And that
that was
factory card enabled them to move the 2 workers from the village through that mine to that mountain with 3 workers, and then set themselves up for the next produce into the worker star and grab mech number 3 while picking up an enlist. So very efficient play so far from Crimea.
yeah. Which enlist did they pick up? Let's
And
see. So
almost
they
almost double
enlisted
Nordic
enlist.
score right now.
Yeah, I think Nordic's in quite a bit of trouble. It was an interesting idea to pick Nordic in between these two factions. It kind of matches up well. But I think, yeah, the slowness of the patriotic board is really tough to deal with Crimea
I was
in
really
this matchup.
surprised to see Nordic not card bolster there, back before those workers got bumped.
Yeah, they went with
Um,
they just enlisted instead of deploying and taking the card.
Crimea has no cards, right? And you're both at 4 power. So Crimea comes in and scouts you. There's a 50-50 chance you can win the combat, and you actually know what their combat card is in that situation. So if Crimea comes in to fight, um, and they scout the wrong card, you can beat them in combat and then go bump their workers. Bumping their workers doesn't hurt that bad because you just sent a mech home to base, right? But
Yeah, then
you're
they
in a
could just get
much
back out.
better situation, Nordic, back there on that farm with a mech and 2 cards than just leaving the workers by themselves, really setting the economy back. Okay. There's some food
Yeah.
that Rusviet um, does not need.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, you think about this enlist for a minute. Probably don't take it because your move is over enlist and you may move more times than you have enlist before this game is over anyway. But technically,
Yeah.
it does speed your game up a little bit to take it. I just don't know that right now you have the score. But as fast as Crimea is moving, I'm not sure you feel like you have the score to do that. Both of these
Yeah.
factions now kind of in a stall game against Crimea, I think.
Yeah, and $3 is a lot of money, especially on a board with engineering. You're gonna be money deficient as well, pretty much all game, unless you sort of decide to go into buildings, which is like way out of your way. So, I would agree with avoiding that, but they went for it.
He's going to take it and go ahead and go to 3 enlists. So he's
That's surprising.
yeah, I'm a little surprised, but like I said, it does speed up his game a bit. So
Let's see, it's got
probably
two mechs out, three enlists.
probably see Riverwalk from Crimea right here. And what that $3 enlist does do is it takes a card away from Crimea. Takes a card from Rusviet too, but Rusviet's got 5, Crimea has 2.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the reason they went for that. I didn't think about that. Um, yeah, so I mean, Crimea now can hit Rusviet on the oil tunnel. Uh, Rusviet is in a pretty good position there with two mechs. They're not dependent on that tile at all either. So I don't know if if like BB would be motivated to do anything there. Let's see.
Your Crimea, your
BB need.
factory card is off cooldown. You've got 1 enlist at 3 max. I think this is a good time to use your factory card. And I mean, one option, Rusviet has more power than you right now. So does Nordic. You could always send one of those mechs up to scout Rusviet on the farm. Now, you might not want to give them the combat, but you'd force them to spend some power and would make them somewhat vulnerable because you're going to be able to invade their base anytime you want. You're a long way away from tier 2 as Crimea because you've chosen to throw your popularity bumping Nordic workers. But as I said that, he does choose to go to the encounter. BB cannot take number 3. This game trying to help him out as much as possible, but the game doesn't know that he has no popularity, evidently. So just has to take the $2 in one pop. Not really what he was looking for there, I don't think.
No. So what stars is BB looking for this game most likely?
I mean, he has his objective, and he's got the enlist factory card, so we're going to see one more mech out of him.
Enlist mech, worker, objective, and then two battle
Two combats,
victories.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he needed that encounter just to produce his last mech. I think was the biggest reason he went to it. So if he could have gotten resources off it, he wouldn't have had to produce, right? That would have been even better to. Well, I guess. Yeah, I guess the
He
dream
doesn't
there
want
would
to
have been like 2
again
metal and
if
1
you
popularity.
Yeah.
Avoid the last produce and not give up any coins.
And yeah, that is the top option on like one of the encounter cards, so that would have been good.
Rusviet had just traded for the 2 food, got another mech.
Yep.
They've only got to move one
So
more
now
time
they
to
have
get their
access.
enlist. So
Yeah, they now have access to the factory.
in theory, if Rusviet gets the score, they can end in 13. And they're only 7 coins behind with that factory wide open. So, and if they've got good cards, maybe they can afford to be scouted by Crimea there on that village tunnel. It's possible.
Yeah, I think I guess I'm a little concerned about Crimea picking up 2 combats at this point. Even though they moved out really fast, everything's gone their way. I just think they're gonna see some limitations on those 2 stars. Both these players are gonna play pretty conservative, and try not to give those away.
Yeah, I think for them, let's see. They used the factory card last turn. I mean, I wonder if at this point you consider just a regular move action, and even going for just starting to scout Rusviet. No, they're gonna move a mech to that tunnel. the worker save themselves a card in their next produce, get on oil, and no, just food. Okay, that makes sense because that's one less factory card use for their enlists. Because right now they need to use the enlist factory card twice more, but by producing metal and also food, they can put a trade in between those two factory card uses. So essentially, get 3 enlists in 3 turns, and 2 of those turns are
Yes.
moves and can pick up combats. So
So their
12,
priority
13,
right now is just
14.
to accelerate their bottom rows of enlist as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
Crimea can end in 1 produce, 2 factory card uses, and a trade. That's 4 turns, 12, 13, 14, 15. Turn 15 end. Rusviet, of course, still looking at possibly a 13 turn end. Machine over muscle, there it is. That's a rough objective for Nordic. I'm a little surprised he didn't reset there. But what did that do to his score? Tell you who
He's
the loser was in that move is Rusviet.
Oh
Rus-
yeah, so Rusviet wants to come into the factory, I'm guessing, and now they have quite stiff defenses on the factory by Nordic.
mm-hmm. Nordic with more power than them and the ability to spend 3 cards. Rusviet can always jump in and spend 4 cards, but with only 5 of them in scout on the board, you can't do that unless it's an ending move. And how are you going to get a second combat doing that? So
Yeah. The
the
military resources are really kind of I think what's most critical in this game, unless Crimea can figure out some other way to get at least one of their stars. I think like we talked about, staying grouped, being really conservative with your movement, so Crimea can't pick anything off. Dur goes for 3 in, so into
I was
the factory.
I was just going to mention this is a way they can exit the base, and this would pick up their last enlist and potentially 2 combats. Um, that would get them to 4 stars. An objective gets them to 5 stars. They're going to get scouted by Crimea. I have to guess, maybe twice. No, just the one time here. I think this is a good move by Rusviet. The downside here is if you wait 1 turn, you have People's Army, but doing it now disrupts Crimea's ability to get that star, assuming that Rusviet wins this fight.
Yeah, so this is like timing on the stopping the fourth mech move from Crimea. So this is like a must win for Rusviet, I believe. Or do you think this is? Yeah, you don't want to give Crimea a combat victory and let them finish up those mechs. So I think this is like they're gonna go as hard as they need to win.
Crimea did a regular move action. Um, Even if they spend all their power, they get 1 back with the factory card and can move right back to metal. Um, so I don't know. I mean, I think you really need to win this as Rusviet. I don't think there's any question about that, and they
Yeah.
do. But I'm not sure how much this actually slows Crimea down, unfortunately for them. Because what we're going to see is a factory card just back out to either the home base mountain or now they can even go to Rusviet's mountain if they have a. Well, Rusviet's enlists and gives themselves a second card. What's the score at right now? Rusviet in the lead.
Yeah.
That
I mean, I think
13
that was
turn
a
in
smart
that
smart
13
play.
turn in looks really possible now. They've got an objective. Because what we're going to see come out next turn is People's Army, and then 1 more combat and an objective ends in turn 13.
Yeah.
And Prince Ali
I mean, they probably do have. Yeah,
takes his
Prince Ali
first
would take
trip
the first
to
game.
take
He
and
seems to be.
his in all likelihood his first trip to elimination rounds, which would be huge.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, I think he's playing well this game. That was a smart move. I was a bit concerned about like his military resources being so exposed after that to Nordic or Crimea counterattack, but I think actually just kind of threaded the needle with the enlist giving him another combat card. The People's Army, he's going to have really good defenses on the 2 tunnels. You just don't want to get scouted in multiple places by Crimea since you're on 2 tunnels. But that would still be risky for them.
So Crimea could do one of two things. They could try to win this and set Rusviet back, but it's really just at one territory for Rusviet. The other thing
Rusviet
you could
doesn't care.
do
Yeah.
is you could throw this fight intentionally and then double attack them 2 times and pick up 2 combats because they won't have any cards, and
Yeah.
essentially lock them into their base by doing so, because they can't exit their base via the factory right now with Nordic on it. Oh my gosh. Rusviet plays for keeps.
Wow. I wasn't expecting to see that. So Rusviet basically knows they're going to be stuck in their base if they agree to lose that combat. Is that
Well,
why they threw so much?
I guess. I mean, they're going to be stuck in their base now having won it. Because Crimea with their I mean, Rusviet has 0 power and 0 cards. I mean, Crimea's picking up 2 combats next turn if Nordic doesn't. I mean, at this
Yeah.
point, if you're Nordic, you don't have your regular move, though. You just have your factory card move. Nordic had a regular move. They could consider taking 2 combats off of Rusviet. How does Rusviet get another combat now? No, they have both of them. I'm sorry.
They have both of
They
them,
have
so
both of
maybe
them.
they're just thinking, all right, I'll just spread around the fringes and try and end. Like maybe they're happy. They have an easy objective. Yeah. So Dur plays nothing, doesn't need to do anything there. So that's easy victory for Dur. Dur's really underdeveloped this game, though, based on what Crimea did early. So I don't know that Dur really has a shot. Round 12, he's got 3 workers. He's not set up to get any more.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter where you put people's army, because you shouldn't have put that food on the
You've
mountain,
got
though,
nothing.
because you've got no cards and no power.
Yeah, so that was a trade, and then he put it in an area that's vulnerable to Dur.
So you're going to lose.
I believe that food doesn't matter because he's got all of his enlists, though.
In all likelihood, you're going to lose 2 territories this next turn. Nordic can hit you 1 spot in your home base, and I mean, theoretically, I guess Crimea could attack you on the tundra, Nordic could attack you on the mountain, and Crimea could also attack you on the mountain, so you'd lose 6. And then you're behind, and you're thinking, can you get the score? And what objective do you have? Is there an objective you can actually get after you get focused by both of these factions?
Everyone, yeah. I'm guessing they played so much on that battle because they have an objective that is easier. I think they probably have the objective of villages, 3 villages.
Maybe it's
because they can stay in the fringes and still pick up the objective and end.
Maybe it's the 0 popularity, 0 power, 0 combat card objective. What do you think?
Yeah, that must be it. They're right on track to win this then.
Well, if it's 3 villages, they're in a little bit of trouble because Nordic on that. Okay, so I thought Crimea was going to invade Rusviet's base there and take a territory away from them. If Rusviet ends next turn and wins by 2 points, Crimea is going to regret that, I think, because they both have it. They have an even number of units. Like we said, Nordic going for that mountain. Rusviet should not have put that food there, because that's a point they just lost.
Yeah. In tier 1, 2 resources worth 1 point, right? Or like, yeah, the tile, they were going to lose that tile anyways.
Which, I mean,
yeah.
if they give that point to Nordic and they lose that point themselves, that's a 2-point swing. They go from being 4 down to now being 6 down. The good news for them is they have the unit tiebreaker over Nordic. The bad news for them is there's not a great way for them to expand. I only see 1 territory they can pick up, and I think that's why Crimea put that mech there on the farm, is to keep Rusviet from expanding out at all. So you pick up 1 territory and you get 1 star. That's 5. That puts you on 37, which means if you hadn't put the food on the village, you would have won.
Wow.
Assuming there's some objective they can get with 2 home-based territories and a farm.
There's not a lot of options at this point. I think Crimea got themselves a battle victory more easily. Well, they had to work hard every time they fought Rusviet, but then they picked up a victory recently pretty easily. So they just need one more. So I mean, Crimea might be more in the driver's seat of this game now, based on Rusviet. I think overspending on that second fight, and not really seeing. It's interesting. They tried to pick like a timing where they could stop the fourth mech from Crimea. The amount that they had to invest to do that and then stay on the board afterwards was exorbitant. And Crimea basically lost one turn, I believe, maybe less than one turn from that sequence. So I think that was more of a that sort of backfired.
Yeah.
What do you think about that sequence?
Um, yeah, I think you're right. I think Rusviet thought they needed to get that combat there. Um, I think maybe they would have had an opportunity to get one along the way that was cheaper. And by doing that, I don't think they had quite done the math on how much was actually going to be taken away from them. And I think
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back to choosing to put those two food on the mountain. You had to know Nordic was going to invade your base, and you're down by
Yep.
6 right now against Nordic. And if you don't put those food there, that's a 2-point swing, and you're down by 4. And 4 is enough to take one territory, turn in a star, and win the game.
Yeah.
Chat points
Do you
out
think
that Rusviet could complete foundations either in their
they have
base
0 points
or by
though?
moving out of their base.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they would have very few territories. I think what happened maybe with that food trade, which it was a mistake. They maybe got a bit tilted after that sequence where they kind of initiated that on BB Scythe, and it didn't work out as they had hoped. I see myself making that type of mistake all the time versus really high level players.
I mean, Rusviet bolstered for 3 power. In the meantime, Crimea gets their 4th mech. Crimea in a great spot, up by 4, and in a position to spread and do some damage. They're,
I mean, they can fight Rusviet.
I mean, I think Crimea ends this turn, don't they?
Yeah, I think this is the
This is enlist factory card in GG. It's Rusviet's
yeah,
turn, and they
one
can't do a
turn and they
thing.
got it. Yeah.
I think Rusviet had that game if they don't put that 2-foot food on the mountain.
It depends what their encounter was, or sorry, what their objective was. Like if they had the 3 villages, I think they could have done it. The problem is,
The only way Rusviet can extend this game is take the character to the factory and lose on purpose. Crimea wins unless they do that. That's the only way. If they get all their units on home base, Crimea can't fight them. And Crimea can't win a 1v1 versus Nordic right now. That's the 200 level IQ play for not throwing the game to Crimea and making Crimea earn it off of Nordic. But
yeah, Durr would love that. I'm sure Durr would love that.
yeah,
I think Crimea probably would. I think they played the best this game. Um, so I'd be happy to see them pick up the win here. They were the most proactive. They kind of had the best foresight for how things would play out. Um,
oh, he does
yep.
it. He does it. He's not going to let
it.
Crimea. He's not going to let Crimea take it. He's going to try to keep the
move.
Well, and it keeps the game alive for him too. He can. Oh, got to go to his base though, right? Yeah.
Back into the base.
What
Yeah.
did Crimea do last turn? They produced into a mech, right? So, but they cannot.
Yes.
They cannot invade that. They cannot get to that village. Rusviet is sending 2 units with 1 combat card.
Yeah. Crimea
Maybe
can never reach that village.
maybe that other mech was just bored, wanted to go join the fight. I guess so.
Yeah.
You have a move. Why not?
So they spent just 1 power, so they just wanted a combat card, and they didn't want. Yeah, they're okay giving Nordic a star there, or did Nordic already had 2 stars for battle. So okay, yeah, so that didn't really do anything. They just got themselves a combat card.
Rusviet at 2 combat cards now. They took one as a recruit bonus off of Nordic, and then played 1 power to get a second one. So Rusviet, if sitting on 2 good cards, is potentially still in this. I mean, call me crazy, but Nordic doesn't have artillery yet, which means a Rusviet with 2 5s can take back a territory from Nordic, or more likely, take back a territory from Crimea up here. Or, I mean, you can take the factory off of Nordic if you've got 2 5s.
Yeah, going against Crimea is pretty risky with the 2 combat cards and scout and play.
Crimea
Crimea,
about
I
to
believe,
invade
also would
Rusviet's.
like a second battle. Yeah,
I think they're about to invade Rusviet's base to set themselves up for a combat next turn.
this is actually a pretty close game.
I take it back. You can't really take a territory away from Crimea if you're Rusviet, because you're going to get scouted. If Crimea
Yeah,
elects not to invade Rusviet's base, and up by 11 now.
yeah, they have a ton of spread over the board. Let's see. I mean, Crimea. If you're Crimea, you're just waiting for anything where you can like hit them with 2 or 3 mechs on Nordic just to end it.
A regular move action with Crimea, you can attack Rusviet next turn. That mech up there on the farm can bump the Tundra worker in Rusviet's base, and the mech on the mountain can go attack Rusviet. So Nordic just deploys. Rusviet has to go attack Nordic again if they want to keep this game alive, I think. Give Nordic another.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because Crimea with 3 power and 5 cards, there's a good chance they have a 5 there.
Yeah, I mean, if Rusviet not in a great position. I mean, they could attack Nordic, or they could just do the same thing, but just like drive bolster, right, or something like that would set them up a little better if they're trying to get some spread, get the objective. I don't think they can get first place at this point, though.
No, I think it's out of reach now. You're not going to
Yeah.
be able to get enough spread. I mean, unless the game goes like 20 rounds and you can build up power and cards and then start moving out to the board. They're going to do it again. They're not going to let Crimea take the winning combat off of them.
Oh, so you're saying Crimea can take? Okay.
Yeah, Crimea moves
so
the farm
they
mech
can reach
down
them in
to
their
the
base.
yes.
Yeah.
They move the farm
Okay,
mech
so
down to
Crimea.
the tundra, and then move the mountain mech next to Rusviet's base in to attack that village. The Rusviet.
Gotcha. So Crimea had the full setup to reach Rusviet, and they had to get out of there. So they are just bouncing off Nordic in the factory to get off the map. Basically.
Now, what would be crazy here?
That's a big. Yeah.
Is if Rusviet goes all out, but Crimea and turns in an objective. That would be 6, 7, 8, 9. It's still not close to enough.
Okay.
But it would maximize their points for the tiebreaker if it comes down to that.
Mm.
Russ just cycling some cards and getting everything back on base. Nordic giving up the power star. If you're Crimea and you have 2 5s, you can end it and take the factory. Or 5 and a 4. Or a 5 and you can steal a 4 from Nordic, or vice versa.
I think Crimea probably tries to just. The only place they can reach Nordic is the factory, I believe. Yeah. So I think they'll just go for it at this point. I mean, they don't want to risk it because they can continue on and just make sure in like a round or two that they can definitely win.
Yeah, I guess we'll just see how good their cards are.
Crimea's only got 2 movement, so they can take 2 mechs in. 2 mechs in, max they can play is, what is it?
13.
13, yeah. So then Nordic, Nordic can't play that. So if they have 2 5s, they could win. If they don't have 2 5s, they have 1 5. They could probably win. It would be a tie. And then if they don't have 1-5 and 1-4, then I don't think they won't take the fight here.
For me, it's taking some time with this turn. Maybe trying to
Yeah,
decide if they're going to roll the dice
some
here. If they had
math.
2 5s, they would have already gotten in.
Yep.
I
Well,
mean,
if they had,
there's
yeah.
no math to do though. You're up by 9, and you get a star, you win. So it's about, do they have the cards and do they have the power? You could dry bolster here and go to 5 power and try to get it next time. Nordic not ending anytime
Oh.
soon. They're still on 3 workers.
So yeah, with artillery, I think that's the problem.
There's no
Makes it pretty
artillery.
hard versus Nordic.
Oh,
No,
I'm sorry.
Nordic does have artillery. Yeah.
You're right. Picked up artillery last turn. So
So then that means they go. The most they can play is it's like 11, whereas Nordic can play 7 plus 12. So yeah, so that's why they can't go for this. It's too risky. When they probably will win if they don't gamble it here. Plus
what do
they
you
know
do
their
here
cards.
if you're Crimea? You're pretty much as spread out as you can get. You could pick up 2 territories. You could bolster for some power, but I mean Nordic's going to artillery it right back from you. You could get a little bit, split the baby and get a little bit of spread while stealing a card from Nordic and start trying to whittle them down with Scout, but they've got 4 cards. It's going to take a little while. Rusviet
Yeah, yeah,
showing absolutely no indication that they're going to let you have a combat, kind of
yep.
forcing
That
Crimea
would have been a
to,
lot easier for BB.
yeah, forcing Crimea to end this against Nordic and not the other way around.
This could go a long time if Nordic needs to win. Okay.
I mean, I think you start attacking Nordic, right? They've got 4 combats. It doesn't hurt them. You attack them right here. You force Nordic to spend 9. I don't see the point of that. Rusviet's already showed you that they're not going to give you the combat. Rusviet's
I
just
think
not going to move off their base.
Yeah, yeah. I think part of the problem is like you go at him in the factory with your mechs on the tunnels and then you lose. Then yours are sent all the way back to base. That's
Hmm.
like 2 more moves. I think that's why they didn't want to start. I think if you can hit them in Rusviet's base and on the factory at once, double scout, like that could work. You can only get artilleried once. I think it is like Durr's in a good position here, military resources wise. He's not in a good position in any other way, but he's able to stall so effectively. He's been conservative enough with all of his battle plays. He's in
Hmm.
4 battles already. His positioning has been really good throughout the game, like keep away spacing. So I mean, it is cool to get to watch him, thanks to Prince Ali, like to get to watch him try to play this out from a huge economic deficit.
Nordic only down. Nordic just went to. They turned in an objective. Probably send one back, I think, and sitting
Yeah.
at 4
Oh.
stars.
Wow. Yeah, with 3 workers, he's on 4 stars. I mean, one more bolster.
Well, he needs 3 bottom row actions for those stars. Is the problem.
Oh, one more bolster. He's at 5.
He needs
That's about it.
he needs a medal, a mech, and 2 enlists off 4 food he doesn't have. So
I feel
still
like
not too close
yeah,
from ending it.
no. In terms of bottom rows, he's in a lot of trouble. Is there some way that he could maneuver it where he gets the power star and then he kind of forces someone else to? Let's see. No, everyone's got full battle stars.
That's a
Oh,
good
actually,
point.
yeah, no. I
You
think
trade
that's the
for
best
some
play
metal
is
here and
Crimea.
then power star and mech star your way to finish. That's a 6. It's a 6 7 8 9
Oh
coin
yeah,
play.
yeah. He gets 1 medal and doesn't lose it. He can win that way. Actually, I
This
didn't
is a good
realize.
play by Crimea though. Attack Nordic, force them to spend, and
Yeah.
I mean
You can't let him get that power star.
I think maybe here as Crimea you spend 6. Um, you think about spending 6. I think force Nordic to not get that power star. The other play here is just to save all
Mhm.
your power, and then next turn when no, because this was a regular move action. How did
So if Crimea
oh
wins
he
this, they
didn't
win the game.
no,
Yeah.
this is a factory card move. The log just
Okay.
doesn't show the factory element because he skipped it and went straight to the bottom. Yeah, Crimea wins this, they win the game, which you would think would force
But they
Nordic to play enough here to stop Crimea. But if Nordic spins a card, and they do, now next turn,
so that
Nordic has to
was
move to lakes now because
yeah.
Crimea can scout their last card.
Yeah, that was a good play by BB. I think Nordic's like hope is kind of gone at this point. So let's see. Okay, so
Nordic
what happened
electing to
here?
try to drive Crimea's score down. I think you block that other mech from the factory, right? You move that. You either move that. You got to move that character out to bump that worker, or you move that character to that wood space. Might have been the better move to keep Crimea off the factory.
Yeah, in between the metal mech and the factory.
Because you just went up by 2, but game's over now. Crimea scouts
That would have
you.
been a really good move.
Well,
You're
Crimea
right.
has to have. Yeah, I think you block the factory there, and then for Crimea to get their last combat, you don't lose territory. Now you're going to
Yeah, you
lose
just retreat into the lake. Yeah.
4 points because the factory turns into a lake. I
Do
haven't
you
done.
think they're kind of fatigued at this point? Why Durr didn't? Maybe there's something we don't know though.
Well,
Let's see. He's got his
Nordic still
objective
has
now. He's got.
artillery. If they'd spent one less, they could artillery and spend 7, and Crimea would only be able to spend 6. But
Yep.
with if Crimea has a 5 now, this ends.
6 cards.
And it's too
They've
bad
been
that
cycling
Nordic is
cards all
only up
game.
by 2. Yeah, no, you're right. Nordic needs Crimea needs a 5. It's too
Crimea only
bad
played a
that
3 last turn. Yeah.
for Rusviet that Nordic wasn't up by a little bit more because Rusviet actually could have suicided Crimea um, a couple times and gotten them off their home base. Of course, Crimea scouts
Yeah.
them twice and then counterattacks them on that tundra, but maybe doesn't have the score to do that.
It's got to be a bummer being Rusviet for the last like 4 or 5 rounds.
Crimea hasn't moved yet. Maybe they don't have a 5.
I'd be really surprised. I mean, they have 6 cards. They've been cycling cards all game. They've had plenty of battle losses, I believe, where they can just pick up, cycle them. Wow. Okay.
Crimea must not have a 5 because there's no
So
way BB missed that play.
yeah.
There's no way BB missed the fact that Durr's sitting on one card that BB can scout.
Nope.
I mean, the fact that he chose to take a move there.
Even if he had a 4, would it have worked if he had a 4? I mean, you also don't know what Durr's last card is.
Well, no, he takes Durr's last card. Durr can play 7 power. Crimea can't take his power. He plays 6 power because he artilleries Crimea down to 1. Crimea plays 1 and a 5. That's 6.
Yeah, but
that's and Durr can only play 6.
BB didn't know that like Durr doesn't have a 4 or a 5 because if he steals a 4 or a 5,
Well, Durr only has 1 card though.
Yeah, he would take Durr's only card, but Durr's card could be a 4 or 5, which BB would take.
Right,
so it's
right.
like even if he didn't have a 4 or 5, he still might have stolen one. Like I mean, Durr played.
Yeah, it would have had to be a 5, but you're exactly right.
Oh, really? A 5?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. Durr played a 3 last round. So I'm sure he's saving. He's been in a lot of fights where he's played 3s, where people are just suiciding off him.
I think you got to bolster here if you're Nordic, or use your. No, you use your factory card here if you're Nordic, and you take a power off the factory card or a bolster to 10 power. But you need to pick up at least 1 power so you can artillery Crimea. And that card's going to get stolen anyway, so why not spend it? The downside is you're already at 6 upgrades, so you don't get a whole lot out of it. So fragile right here.
Yeah. I mean, it's a battle of wits between Durr and BB. Like high level, round 18. I mean, they definitely came to play today.
Crimea can pick up power off their factory card. next turn. So they can actually go to 4 power, which would be reduced to 2. Wait, Dur just picked up 2 cards. Oh, he has, okay. Dur has 6 upgrades. He bolstered for 2 cards. That's even better. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that he had a 2-card bolster.
Yeah. I mean, that'll help against Scout.
Rusviet still can't do a darn thing without giving the game to Crimea.
Yeah, I mean, he's just basically spectating at this point, like we are. Unfortunately, I think that'll maybe. I wonder if in the next set of games he starts playing a little more conservative and kind of tempers his aggression, because it's kind of been like little advantages that BB and Dur have been going for this entire game, whereas he went kind of all out on a like a sequence that would have been very decisive, but um, he kind of overplayed his hand there.
Hey, Ninja, your
Maybe.
mic is kind of cutting out on us.
Oh, oops.
I don't know if the volume got turned down or what, but
Good check on that. Thanks for letting me know.
chat, none in chat asked if last turn. Hey, it's Annie Robert. This is Ninju85 with me today. None asked in chat if Nordic had a suicide move against Crimea. He did, but he's already got 4 combats, so Crimea would just lose it. I guess you pick up territory doing that. I think
Yeah, that was my other idea, is some sort of spread into a suicide on Crimea where you just kind of dive them. If you can find the opportunity for Dur.
if you can make it back to your turn, and I guess you will, because I don't think Crimea can end right now, because they can only scout 1 card off of Nordic, and they can't do a double move yet. You've got your triple move coming up, so Crimea's got a spread here because to keep Nordic from potentially going for like a triple suicide, where they don't win the game, but they send all of Crimea's units back home.
Yes, it's. I mean, another thing is Dur needs 1 medal for his final mech, and there is medal of Crimea's in range on the mine. So I would like. I don't know. Maybe that's not a great option for Dur, but that's also an issue for BB potentially.
Thanks, Attorney Robert. I appreciate you joining the stream. It's always fun to have, like you said, it's always fun to have guest commentators. So I definitely appreciate Ninja85 joining me.
Yeah, is my mic doing all right now?
It's a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to fix it. So we got Crimea coming in, BB coming in on attack. On Dur. Okay, artillery.
I mean, you basically forced Nordic to spend the card here, right? And then next turn you can scout their other card.
Yeah, it's
So
whittling down the combat cards.
it seems like this is just a matter of time now. Although, can Nordic just bolster for 2 cards again? No, they can't this turn. What do you do here? What do you do here? Crimea can attack you, take your last card, and they just have to play 4. You can't bolster. You move to an encounter and you pray is what you do.
Yeah.
That space is actually out of Crimea's range. So he's getting
You can
1 mech
also
out of dodge.
move into the lakes for anything in range. That's what I maybe would have done. But that, and then you bolster for 2 combat cards next time.
It's not enough. They're tied.
Yep. What do you
Not
think
enough.
about moving into the lakes there instead of pumping workers?
Too many units. You leave 1 behind, and it's Crimea hits
they had
that
too
one.
many. Yeah, he was in range of everything pretty much, huh? Like, or at least, yeah, each one.
There were 3 units on tunnels and 1 at the factory. So unless you had a
Yep.
suicide play where you could send a bunch of Crimea's stuff home, and I think Nunn pointed out that he had one earlier.
He did have a play. Okay, yeah.
So this is where, if I'm Rusviet, I move out, take the maximum amount of territory I can, and I hit Crimea and give him the game because the game's over right now.
Yeah, try to get some score for
Yeah,
boost up your
because
score.
Crimea is about to attack Nordic, probably on the factory, and win the game because they're gonna scout. They have a double move. All they need is 2 cards that are at least a 2, which that's every card. So, I mean, even artillery does nothing because Crimea only has 1 power. So, if
Yep.
you're Rusviet, you did your best. You forced Crimea to win this against Nordic and not just pick an easy combat off of you. But Nordic couldn't pull it out. So now it's time
Yeah.
to pick up 6 points and get yourself to 33 for that tiebreak, 32 for that tiebreaker, which the minimum is 30. So those 2 coins don't do much for you, to be honest, but it's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Although
looking back at this
you
game, I
can,
mean,
you could actually wait a second. You could actually take the factory from Nordic. I mean, you can't win, I don't think, but we're talking about tiebreaker points. Pick
yeah.
up 2 territories, take the factory from Nordic, and suicide on Crimea, or turn in your objective if you have it. Still don't know what it would
CCU
be.
end before Crimea's turn. Yeah. I mean, Crimea's got this no matter what. There are a couple things you can do, tiebreaker or like for points wise for later in the set. Okay, so okay. What is he going for here? I mean, you can win that battle. Oh, okay.
It's picking up territory, I guess. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't really know, but I mean, he's gonna get. Oh wait, he can't. Nordic won't want to use artillery on him because of Crimea
Is it
potentially.
possible he has the math here? He has the
Oh,
objective? 15? He's down 15. On Nordic, he's going to take 6 away from Nordic. Take 6. 6, 7, 8. He takes 8. He doesn't catch Crimea, though. Right?
yeah.
8, 9, 10, 11. Did I count that right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He doesn't catch Crimea.
Yeah, I think he can get some points here, but I mean, what is it like 4 rounds? He couldn't do anything, like literally no moves.
He can beat
For
Nordic,
about
is
four
what he can
rounds.
do, and he can tamp
Yeah,
down
yeah. He's
Nordic's
trying to just take Nordic down. Yeah.
tiebreaker score.
Yep.
He has one more move action. Oh wait, he can still pick up. Didn't he have a triple move? Couldn't he have picked up one more territory? No, no, no. The
Oh,
third
he
mech
used
went
them
up to
all.
the
Yeah, he
village.
used them all. So yeah, he's not going for an objective. He's just trying to.
I'm not sure you do beat Nordic. I forgot about Seaworthy.
Yeah, the seaworthy thing. Yeah, because Nordic
Still,
can use artillery. Well,
it's
actually,
still enough. It's still enough to beat Nordic.
I guess had Nordic moved into the lakes with everything they could and then left the one that Rusviet could reach, could hope Rusviet sends you into the lake. So that way Crimea can't get anything easy. Okay, so Rusviet takes the factory.
See if we see an
I
objective here.
believe Nordic is still ahead of them. Yeah, by 1 point. Wow, that was
But if they
close.
have an objective,
I don't think there are any that they could get with their positioning
I have no idea what it
situation.
would be.
Yeah. There's yeah. There's no objective that would match the board state for Rusviet, unfortunately.
I mean, you have foundations, but they spread their workers out. No, okay.
Yeah, so Crimea can just
Take the factory.
finish the game here. Yeah.
I
That's
mean, that's
good.
what you do.
Oh, Rusviet's got no combat cards for Crimea to steal. Doesn't really matter. So yeah, it's been a good game.
This is
See Crimea
actually
finish it up.
this is actually not an obvious play here by Crimea because they have to decide whether it's better to. No, no, never mind. Because if you hit Nordic, they just seaworthy. So the play here is probably to take the factory from Rusviet and knock a Nordic worker just to get their tiebreaker score a little lower.
Yeah.
I think that's the pretty obvious play here.
Hmm. I mean, it was a hard-earned victory here.
Yeah, I mean Crimea Industrial in 20 rounds. If you
Yeah,
told me at
exactly.
the
So that
beginning that this game was going to go 20 rounds, I would have said Nordic Patriotic all the way.
yeah.
But that's not.
Yeah, no, Nordic Patriotic could not do anything due to the early aggression from BB on those workers on the food tile. So like the
That
last, I
was
don't know, 6 rounds has been tough for them.
your Nordic. That was the play of the game, no question. And Nordic
Oh
Nordic
yeah,
can't be
definitely.
mad about Rusviet coming out of the base. The game was over.
Yeah,
Rusviet gave Nordic every chance in the world to go up against Crimea, and
yeah,
Nordic just couldn't pull it off. I mean, it's no slight. It was Crimea Industrial's the better combination there, and
yep.
it it's what we saw eventually. Scout eventually won the day and got its
King of the
comeback.
Hill. Yeah, Scout was so good. Um, so it looks like Prince Ali had King of the Hill. Only had a better objective. He could have. Yeah, so I think Rusvia had the chance to really win that game. Um,
Wait, he had King of the Hill,
King of the Hill killed me. That's what he said. Yeah.
but oh, I guess he got artillery maybe by Nordic. I feel
Yeah, I'm
like
not
he had
sure.
one power. He spent one less. Could he have spent one less power and gotten the
Not
objective?
sure. Because I don't know. King of the Hill. I mean, he was on tunnels. I mean, he spent all his power on that metal tunnel against Crimea in 2 battles. So I'm not really sure what happened there. Um, for Prince Ali. I'm gonna step away for just 1 second
All right, time
to
for the
pee
next
real
game.
quick.
All right, speaking of different
Yeah.
game, we are now in the second game.
Yeah, I think that's good analysis. I would say that I think BB really struggled to close that out. The fact that he won with that combo on what, like round 20, um, I think was somewhat lucky. I agree. The mine and the factory card, um, he needed those. But he still had like a lot of trouble. And I wonder if that combination been like had he played that combination standard, if he would have pulled out a much cleaner victory that was much more secure on round like 16 or 17, maybe
Mm-hmm.
16.
This game we got BB on Nordic. We've got Dur on Rusviet. Dur going with a weird strategy with Rusviet Engineering. I don't know about this. We'll see. See what happens
Oh,
here.
okay. Let me get in here.
I mean, is this looks like a factory rush out of Dur? I mean, are we going to see Township off of this? Trade for Township?
Wow, that is very interesting.
I think
Would
this
have
is
expected
Township,
anything here.
and it is.
Do you think he has machine over muscle or technological advantage? Nice.
Maybe your mic's like falling down or something. Is it possible it's just too low?
It's hard to keep it. It's hard to keep it there. Usually, it works okay when it's like droopy. Let me hold on a second. Let me turn it in now.
That it really quick.
All right. BB with a pretty common Nordic Patriotic double upgrade start, although choosing to go on enlist for that first upgrade. Not a great encounter here. This is not what you wanted to see. Don't need
Definitely,
wood.
definitely not. You think he'll go with the popularity combat card?
Takes the
Wow.
4
Okay.
wood. I think the 4 wood's a good choice. Next turn he trades for 2 food,
Yeah.
puts a mill there, and then produces 2 metal and gets his first enlist. I think that's the right play there to take that food or that wood rather.
Yeah. Are you able to hear me a bit better now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the mic is just kind of drooping down and getting away
Yeah.
from your mouth is what's going on there.
That and I guess the hand like thing was muted also, which I don't remember doing, but um yeah, so do you think we've got like
None
a
says build a
technological
mine.
advantage?
None says Nordic should build a mine.
Huh.
Could be
Get
technological
themselves onto the
breakthrough.
or machine over muscle.
machine over muscle.
I mean, I think that's gonna slow Rusviet Engineering down a lot, having to play with that objective. Has Dur reset already? 'Cause
We haven't had any resets, have we?
okay. I guess not. Yeah, no, there hasn't been anything in the Group A Discord. So
Okay, mech factory card. And there it
machine over
is, machine
muscle.
over muscle.
Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, you don't want to take your normal deploy action if you can avoid it. And now that he doesn't have the standard setup, it's even less helpful for him because he's not going to trade for food or different resources as he deploys. So
Right.
I think he's going to have issues with money this game. Dur.
Much more traditional start out of Crimea Industrial this turn than this game than last game. And there's the 2 food.
Yeah.
I think it's a mill, none. I know you say mine, but I think we're gonna see a mill. There it is.
What would the advantage of the mine be exactly, like for his kind of objectives within the game as the Nordic Patriotic?
None likes to aggro, so I don't know.
Yeah, because I feel like you've got the best economy if you can just get away with getting it moving. Then
Rusviet
you should have
taking
an
that
advantage.
$2 and 1 popularity option very quickly.
What does that tell you? Is that an indication that they want to go 8 workers right now, or is it an indication that they're hoping for like a really good find on the next encounter because they can pay
Maybe.
with more popularity?
He took it so quickly. I almost didn't see I didn't really see what the other
Yeah, I couldn't
options
see the
were.
other
So I'm
options.
not really sure.
Guessing they were bad though, because I think he would have rather taken some food. Um, let's see, because with the start that Dar went with, now he's got Crimea getting enlist done, and he's nowhere near being able to do that. He's got Nordic. Uh, Nordic could get an enlist done in like 2 turns if they want, but they're getting some mechs out, and they've got the mill, which works well for them.
I'm gonna throw this out there. We could see a little payback here. In last game, BB bumped Dur's workers, sent him back to base, and threw off his economy for the rest of the game. Rusviet next turn could actually factory card to the encounter. It's on BB's village. And presumably, BB trades here or does some other action other than move those workers or deploy. And if that happens, Rusviet can drop Riverwalk with that factory card and triple move up to that village, send BB's workers home this game, and grab an encounter. So get get that popularity right back for the produce.
It'd be even better if BB goes and trades for 2 food. I don't think BB will because he'll make it. He knows that that's an option. He'll make it less enticing for Mr. Dur. But it's good you spotted that option for Rusviet. I don't know if Rusviet wants to though, because they wanted that popularity for some reason.
I want to point out that Crimea just passed on 2 popularity for an upgrade in any 2 resources. Maybe thinking that they couldn't send them 2 popularity because then they couldn't produce. But when you're on Crimea Industrial that way, you can turn around and trade for 2 food enlist, and then get popularity off that enlist bonus. So I think Rusviet's gonna bump those workers before the day is out.
kind of moving into position. I mean, it's like, all right, he's in the vicinity now. So he just deployed
That
Riverwalk.
that oil was good for Rusviet because what that means is when he produces the rest his
Yep.
7 workers, he can make his enlists only cost 2, which
Yeah, and
means
he'll get
going
a
to
triple
food
move.
and doing 1 produce is going to be enough to just move around the rest of the game pretty soon here.
Yeah, so you're saying he's going to produce 8 food in the next 3 turns.
Well, he dropped a worker on that tundra over there, so it would be
Oh.
7 food.
Oh, that
but
came with
it's
the encounter. Okay, 7. Yeah, so then he's almost.
always 1 short.
He's 1 short.
So maybe he shouldn't have. I guess maybe he shouldn't have taken that worker there.
Is there a way to do that where you take part of the offering from the encounter?
Yeah,
and
you
decline
can.
part of
You
it.
can decline the worker.
Okay.
It asks you if you want to accept the worker, and you just say no.
I always
You
accept because I'm like.
you may have to have. No, I think it always asks you.
Yeah, I think so. I
We've
just never.
we've clicked this game so many times. Sometimes we just hit stuff without reading it.
Yeah.
For me, just kind of putting away with a traditional economy strat here. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like what Crimea is doing. It's like, all right, Rusviet's gonna kind of disrupt Nordic. I would say Crimea. It's on one coin, 2 coins, 1 heart. That's not amazing, but they are super developed. They've got the deploy enlist, which they're going to make some money off of more of their own mechs. Nordic's got 3 left to deploy. Rusviet really quick on the mechs this game
Yeah.
with that factory card, so you're not going to make a lot of money there.
Rusviet taking that worker over on that tundra gets a little spread out of it, but of course, like we talked about, gets 1 less food. So kind of praying now to pick up food on one of these encounters.
And I think that's likely between all the encounters. They've got 3 at their disposal with the movement they have through their mechs right now. Maybe more, 4.
Look at this. They do not get the food. So Rusviet splitting up their workers here. Really creative, just to grab some extra spread, I guess. That upgraded move. For me, of course, with no upgrades. Despite having no wood, so no bottom row action here, going to go ahead and move out of the base. Maybe sensing that this game is going a little close for comfort.
Yeah, that was an interesting play from Dur.
Quick.
Oh, so you're saying Crimea is concerned that the game's moving a little too quick? Or were you saying...
Maybe trying to get out on the board before the game runs away from him. Climb, you said, why not bump the workers? If you're talking about the Rusviet workers on the farm, I think the answer is Crimea couldn't reach them. They didn't have a mine here, and they didn't have anything on a tunnel.
Yeah, they would have loved to be able to do that.
They can't move this turn, so Rusviet has to do something, of course, to make sure Crimea doesn't steal that food next turn. And I think we see Rusviet move down to this village encounter with the character as one of the moves, hoping to pick up that food.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah, he's going to move that food away from Crimea with one of the moves. The worker probably to an encounter with 1 move. I'm not sure what else is the priority. You might want to block. Let's see. Do you have a way to block Crimea from the factory with one of his mechs? Probably not.
I mean, he can go to the factory and force Crimea to fight him for it. He can take one of the Rusviet mechs and township to the factory and then go to this mountain here adjacent to the factory, but he passes on doing that.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting option too, is to
Oh,
sort of block
why don't you
on the
take...
mountain.
Oh, he didn't have the popularity to take the 2 popularity for 1 enlist. He could have blocked Crimea off the factory though with a mech.
Do you think that would have been a good play, like a better play than what he went with?
I guess it depends on if you're trying to keep Crimea from getting combats or if you're trying to slow Crimea down from getting a factory card. I mean, I kind of like the
Okay.
mech block there, but I feel like either one is a legitimate play. We saw Crimea struggle to get combats last game. If you're thinking as Rusviet, keeping Crimea from getting combats is in your favor. No Wayfair on the board yet.
Crimea also doesn't
probably
have
looting
scout
this.
yet, so you wouldn't. Oh, Crimea does have scout. So yeah, I don't know if the block's the right move.
Technological breakthrough
play.
again. Climb in chat asked why Rusviet didn't bump the Nordic workers. My memory, Climb, is that Rusviet had a chance to hit the village and bump the workers, but Nordic moved off, and then the character couldn't reach it. The character came up to this encounter, but the next turn, Nordic deployed Seaworthy. So I don't think Rusviet ever actually had a chance to bump the workers. I think it was on his radar, but Nordic got there just in time to prevent it. Nordic with 3 enlists, 2 mechs.
I think he chose. Yeah, he could have gone to that village and bumped it with the factory card, but he just chose to go to oil and take the encounter there.
Well,
and then after that, I think he missed the opportunity.
Nordic moved the workers off the village. Rusviet couldn't bump them off the village because that turn Nordic moved them to the farm.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Climb, he said there was one round when Nordic needed to trade 2 metal and then bolster. Rusviet didn't have Riverwalk at that point. He would have needed speed and Riverwalk to go from the factory up to that village, and he only had speed and township. He didn't have Riverwalk. Could have dropped Riverwalk instead of speed, but then he could have only made it to this Tundra Tunnel. I'm pretty sure about that.
So I like the way Rusviet is playing this game. Like, they're not. I think Rusviet is going to be hard to beat once they have all their mechs. And the more you can kind of, I think, avoiding Crimea, like small skirmishes with Crimea while they have scout out, is just a good policy in general. And Rusviet has some nice spread. This is really nice play from Dur, in my opinion.
Well, you may be right, I may be wrong, but I think you may be right. There may have been a turn where Rusviet could do it. I thought there wasn't a window. I thought that Nordic traded, then moved to the farm, then deployed the mech. But it's possible I'm remembering incorrectly.
So Rusviet, I mean, they have all the food they need. They only need 1 more mech. They've got the metal for the mech.
No, they're 1 food short, aren't they? Yeah, they
maybe.
were 1 food short.
1 food short. Yeah, okay. They just had the option to pick up food. Yep. So they just gained 3 more food.
Yeah, they finally got the food they needed.
Yeah, they had like 4 different encounters to choose to go between. I think they had they went through about 3 of them before they found it. So
Rusviet potentially ending in 2 turns.
Yeah, Rusviet in a very good position.
In turn 15, if they can find combats, which is a big if, but they've got 7 combat cards and they've got People's Army.
Yeah, having Rusviet with a lot of mechs is going to be really good, even if you only have 5 power. There is a Crimea on the oil. Oh, okay. So they just fortified that. But that was the one area that was vulnerable to Rusviet. So yeah, Rusviet needs 1 more mech.
You could do a little, you could do something sneaky here. You could move a mech and a worker to the farm tunnel off of the Rusviet Tundra. Whip a little worker down to that village, and then go from your own village to that village to Crimea's farm.
Wow.
Little
That would be,
township magic there.
yeah, that'd be really cool. And you can also go in with like basically the equivalent of functionally 2 mechs if you have enough workers, with how you set that up. I
I,
don't think they have the positioning to do that with 2 workers though, where they enter.
I think Rusviet was baiting Crimea to come attack that on that mountain, and Crimea didn't take the bait. I want to see the worker whip, Rusviet. I want to see it. All right, what's Nordic doing up here?
Oh no, they could do it. Yeah, they are set up for that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fancy move. I would never see that move normally.
Yeah, you gotta watch those villages if you're playing against Rusviet.
Yeah. So I mean, they could have 2 more stars. They could have 3 stars on this next turn, Rusviet, right here. They have the potential to have all 3 stars in this turn and end it here.
Well, they have to pick up 2 combats to get 3 stars, don't they? Which is going to be
So one, oh yeah, no, yeah, sorry. So that, yeah, they would need 2 combats and their enlist. I don't think they'll be picking up 2 combats. They could pick up one at best. So yeah.
What's the score looking like? Rusviet in a 5-point lead over Crimea. I think you take that if you take that combat on the farm this turn, next turn you can just throw everything you want at the factory and end. Nordic has 2 stars, Mr. Brazil.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool move. Do you think that they're gonna see that?
Maybe.
What is it? Oh, they might be going to do it.
Oh, he's gonna double suicide Crimea. So Crimea has to win one and lose one.
Oh,
And it costs Russ, it just costs Russ the double scout.
that is a clever move.
So unfortunately, they couldn't hit him 3 times, or that would be GG.
So
and
basically, Crimea has to purposefully win one of these
and lose one.
Yeah, win one, lose one.
So they
So
have to
he'll probably lose the factory. I'm
It
guessing.
looks like they're doing the Tundra combat first. So
okay. Which one would you
gotta
choose to lose?
Oh, you
if
gotta
you're
lose.
Crimea?
You gotta lose the factory, I think.
That's what I
Or
thought. Yeah.
win the factory, right?
I don't know, because Rusviet just comes right back at the factory. Whereas to get into position to hit you on the tunnel, it'll take a lot more for them, multiple moves. So
Yeah.
I also think you're not holding the factory that much longer with Nordic's setup. They can walk right over.
But you're in trouble because
with
Rusviet's just going to move and hit you anyway from the Tundra tunnel. I mean, it doesn't.
Oh yeah,
Rusviet's got this
Rusviet
next
can move
turn.
from there.
Unless
So
it's
then when they
Crimea,
win-
you can just. Unless it's Crimea, you can drive up your score because. So you have to win on the factory just from a points standards. You have to stall Rusviet at this point, which they're up by 14. That's going to be. You're going to get 3 back, and it's going to be 11. No, it's not,
a great play by Dur, though.
Because Rusviet's going to trade in 2 food and pick up a star. Going to lose.
Yeah, I think Crimea's in a pretty bad position here. Ooh. So.
Yeah, 13.
Well, why did Crimea play so much there?
I think he just threw down to make sure Rusviet couldn't win on that turn. He has 10 cards. He can probably spare them.
Yeah, he had a lot to spare. Okay. So then.
So
I mean, if Crimea could take a battle, that's still not going to boost their score enough, right? Yeah, they're too far behind.
I think the game's over. I mean,
that was a great play.
Rusviet suicides his turn. And if they win, they win. If they don't win, they don't win. Or if they don't win, they win. And I don't think anyone can drive their score far enough down to do anything about it. I love this game. I absolutely love the unconventional, just shooting from the hip strategy by Durr. And I love that it paid off. Because if you open that way and run around the board grabbing encounters like you bought the game yesterday and it doesn't work, it's absolutely terrible. But you come off looking like a genius now. And Nordic really wishing that Crimea hadn't gone to 4 stars there. Of course, I mean, BB's on Nordic and he's through to the next round anyway, so what does he care? But
yeah, he's probably See, BB picked up last game, so he's good. I mean, I think that play with the double suicide was extremely clever. Rusviet does give you a lot of interesting options. I mean, you're very mobile. Okay, so that was a quick one compared to last game. So Prince Ali's just taking some territory back. I don't know.
I mean, that's a situation where, for tiebreaker's sake, you might just have hit Rusviet on the Tundra and taken your last star. Prince Ali not playing that way in this game, though, which I respect. Nordic trying to maximize his own score, maybe slow down Rusviet a little bit. I don't think it's going to be enough.
No, I don't. They both step on Rusviet's stuff. I mean, I would say that
he's going to get to 45, it looks like.
BB is helping out Ali a lot there. Prince Ali there. With all the stepping.
Not enough to stall. Because Rusviet has 3 moves, remember? They can hit. They can bump a Crimea worker, bump another Crimea worker, and then attack Crimea on the factory. Nordic just knocked down, just past Crimea on the tiebreaker.
Yeah, it's been like a high precision, low activity game for BB this round, this game.
Nordic playing defensive, getting out 8 workers, but only 2 mechs. He did get 4 enlists and 2 mechs out by turn 16, but encounter didn't help him as much as he might have liked. And by taking the risk on the upgrade on the enlist early, he got his enlists out, but he really slowed down his mechs. So, and look at this, just playing for the tiebreaker right now. So it looks like Durr's through to the next round. We're going to see an attack on Crimea here.
So Durr needed 1 point to get to the next round, to the qualifiers?
To get to 8, and which in all likelihood will result in moving to the elimination round. Durr's still got Nordic by 2, so he doesn't have to decrease Nordic's score at all. Doesn't really have to do anything. Can move 1 unit here.
Yep.
Just move that mech off the home base to hit Nordic, and everything else is a wash. I actually don't think he can pick up another territory. The mechs are all by themselves.
Yeah, he'll pick up the most valuable territory.
Yeah, I mean, you win this combat if you're Crimea. But, oh, maybe now you can't. You try to win it. You try to win this combat if you're Crimea. Just because it's worth... It's worth 9 points toward the tiebreaker. Can't win it, though. Even with 2 5s. Good game, Durr.
Yeah, that was well played. I would say, didn't he... It seemed like he moved maybe 3 times in a row, or maybe 2 times, did something else, and then once or twice in a row again when he was on that food encounter hunt.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, one of the most creative Rusviet Engineering games I've ever seen. So that was
That
really
was.
fun to watch. And it was really fun to see that pan out. Prince Ali now in a really tough spot because he's dropped 2 games and he's on Nordic, which would be considered the weakest combination of the 3. They're in a
Yeah.
good spot. Now goes to 8 points and on the strongest combination next game in a position to move to, if he wins, move to 10 points and put himself in at first seed. So that would be great for him. The
17,
downside of that
yeah.
strat is it can an encounter can only speed it up 1 turn. So you're gonna need
So
a
you're
little
at,
help.
what, 16, 15 at best? Yeah.
You're gonna need like a Rusviet that just stays on his home base the whole game to keep Crimea from winning the game, and I don't know how often that comes along. Right? No
See
one.
what I see with one thing I would think that might help you playing from a disadvantage with these top players is the games do get drawn out longer. So I think you might have a little bit of a shot there. I would say if you're playing with like less expert players that you're not going to get those extra rounds in that you'll need to really hit your timing. Like you have to stall for to a certain extent until you start to have some strength in the game.
Yeah. Can't say I've seen a lot of games where that have gone the way it did with Rusviet in that first game, where they basically just acknowledge they have no chance of winning. I've seen players like make moves to try to not throw the game from one to another. I've never seen like I'm going to suicide repeatedly on one faction that already has 2 combats to intentionally send my units to base so that the other faction can't end. I usually see people like try to play, objectively good plays that will make it hard for the other faction. But I mean, I guess in that case, it was just all or nothing because he was at 0 power and 0 cards.
Yeah, I mean it was a cool move. I think probably wouldn't have thought of that in that situation. Probably just be a little bit more tilted. uh, so respect to Prince Ali on that one.
Nordic taking a different tack than Nordic in last game, choosing to upgrade the mechs instead of going for that enlist upgrade.
Yeah, so we started with a move into a produce.
Wow, okay, so the order that Dur just took on this is interesting because he can't trade for metal next turn.
Oh, what?
Which
Oh, yeah,
means
they're in
he's
his
not.
building strats.
Which means that he's going to move the workers before he gets a mech. Okay, I didn't expect this, but oh wait, there's still 1 move left. So that worker is either going to the Albion village or possibly the village tunnel, but Nordic going to play it safe here.
So Dur's gonna walk, use a combat card, and do a bottom row build of something. Maybe like a mill on the metal.
I think you can put it either place. If you move 2 workers to the mountain and move 2 workers to the mountain, you could put the mill either place. A little surprised to see Nordic not take a mill on the mountain there off that encounter. Going for metal instead. Oh, but there's a worker there. Okay, that is better.
They got an extra worker, yeah.
I didn't catch the worker there.
A worker and 2 metal. Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah, that's pretty beautiful.
So good.
Because you can have
so good.
Now you can have a turn 5 mech with an upgraded bolster, a turn 6 produce, a turn 7 mech, turn 8 factory. Right? Did I do that right?
Let's see. So he produce 5 mech, 6.
In the meantime, Rusviet.
Yeah, that's right.
Rusviet does not get the dream. They do not get the food off that first encounter that we saw Rusviet get in game 1.
Yeah, I think in game 2 they got a worker or upgrade in food. They got both games. They got the food on that first encounter, which is nice. So this is unlucky for BB. Luckily, he's already going through to the next round, I guess, because the first encounters do matter. They matter quite a bit in these games.
Let's see if we're right. 2 workers
Especially when you're at a disadvantage. Yeah.
in a mill. Yeah.
Okay. And so why? So Fomoff,
Neighbor
why do you think
lakes.
Dur would go for this opening with Crimea Industrial?
I mean, I think he thinks it's the opening that gives him the best chance to win. He's gonna go to 7 workers.
Yeah.
Get a speed Mac. Probably trade for an enlist. Split his workers between the farm and the mountain, and leave 1 worker on the village so he can produce for the worker star.
Yeah. So it's gonna. I guess he's sped up. He can work with 3 territories. I think it might. I'm wondering if it's gonna allow him to keep his coins a little higher than when we saw Prince Ali play this out, sort of standard. He ended up with like 2 coins, 1 pop, kind of
Yeah,
after
something.
maybe 10 rounds.
It sounds vaguely familiar now that you're saying that this strategy does produce more coins than the typical strategy.
It may also be just more efficient once you get it going. Let's see what else. I mean, it starts him off with a building if he does want to go for that build star, which would allow him to move around and get bottom rows more efficiently than having to stop and do the trade into the enlist. So I think getting the first building done if you're going to go that way with industrial. Building on industrial is always a good option. Plus, if you're spending combat cards, it can only cost 2 or 1 if you upgrade it. So that's not a bad play for Crimea.
I didn't notice this initially, but Dur chose to go for the power enlist first because Rusviet showed that they were going with an upgrade strategy, which I think makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Industrial. And so people normally play industrial. I mean, you can play it viably without any upgrades, like without the triple move, right?
Yeah, the older than time Crimea Industrial would be go to 5 or 8 workers, split them between the farm and the mountain, and toggle back and forth. Problem with that is if you don't leave the base soon enough, you give yourself a little bit of trouble. Now Dur is set up to where he can produce enough food to get his enlist while trading for wood.
And
then start to.
So he might be going with the wood. Also, what I was gonna say is that this opening allowed him to get out of the base quicker, I think, than if he did the 8 worker, which is how Prince Ali did it. So I think he gets more money. He gets out of the base quicker, and then he also sets himself up for the build star. So I actually really like this. This play from Dur.
Another thing to note is he got 2 enlists before he hit his encounter, which allowed him to get the popularity off the enlist bonus. And
so he can hit the encounter like in a better position with hearts, extra hearts.
He just took 2 combat cards and 3 power off 2 popularity. Because normally with industrial, you can take a 2 popularity option off an encounter, but it's it can be a little dicey. You have to kind of finagle balancing your popularity.
You'll run out of pop or you'll have some issues. Yeah.
All right, Rusviet.
That is another advantage of his opening. The opening is very, very cool.
That 2 food and 2 metal is amazing.
Yeah, that's what they'd like to see. It doesn't look like no one can touch them, I'm pretty sure, so that's fine. So
he's got 3 metal, so he's got enough metal to trade for his remaining mechs. He's missing 4 food this game.
Yep. And he's going to produce again, though, which will get him 2 more food and finish his workers. So, I guess, 2 more metal. 2 more metal equals 2 more food through the trades to deploy, though. So, he's going to be 2 food short, basically, still, I believe.
Well, and the play, I think, you got to produce 1 more time and you don't need metal. So, why not either make a mech and get the metal off the board so Nordic doesn't steal it from you on that mountain, but then move those 2 workers on the mountain up to that farm and produce for your workers with that last 2 food you need.
Mm.
Wait, no, it's not 2 more food, is it? It's 4 more food.
It's 4 more food. If they do another produce where their workers are currently positioned, they'll leverage that 2 extra metal into 2 food, so they'll need 2 more food. So yeah, so I think they're just going to be looking for, once they get the factory mech, I believe they could go for 1 more encounter by their base potentially.
Nordic just got a enlist factory card.
Oh,
So
okay.
their game just
So
got,
that's probably one of the win conditions for for Nordic, right?
yeah, they needed that badly.
So win conditions being Rusviet doesn't give Crimea any battles, and it goes longer because of that. They get a really good first encounter, which they did, getting that worker on metal plus metal. I mean, that's insane. And they picked up the ideal factory card.
Crimea
So
just
this could
turned
be
in
pretty interesting.
Crimea just turned in Foundations of the Empire.
Nice. Okay.
Lucky them.
Yeah.
So you definitely
I
use
think
that brand new shiny factory card this turn. You've got 2 mechs, you've got no enlists, or get an enlist through a produce. That works too.
yeah.
But you needed to get an enlist that round for sure.
Yep. You need to get the enlist going as fast as possible.
And you can use the enlist factory card
wow.
this next turn to get enlist number 2, and then toggle between enlists or mechs. But you can use one of the enlist factory card uses to move those workers back to a village.
Yeah. Definitely. He
So
needs 1 more produce on metal.
that's nice.
Yeah, so you can save your last, let's see, metal produce for when you're getting the rest of your workers. I don't think that's going to line up right, even with because you're on 1 of 4 lists. But I think that Nordic's actually in the game now, based on some of the nice RNG that they got here. Also, let's see, is Dur staying in his base a little longer with the industrial? Definitely, the BB Scythe was out like on turn 5 or so with that mine and everything. So Dur's staying much longer in his base, which is good for Nordic.
Okay, so I forgot that. Okay, so Rusviet just made a pretty smart play, I think. Rusviet is still 1 resource short. Because they're 2 food short, they're going to produce 2 metal and get their worker star. But then they have to trade for 1 more metal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Crimea just
It
got a
was.
building. Oh,
Let's see what Rusviet just did.
Crimea
He
just
jumped
gained
back.
2 wood off of that encounter, and that's absolutely huge because what was going to happen is they were going to get to 4 enlists and still need 2 buildings. But now, and the reason that matters is you pick up your wood while trading for your enlists. But now they don't have to trade a final time for that wood.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So they can go straight to scout now.
Ooh.
He probably had a plan for it anyway, but now
Yeah.
he just
Jumped him ahead a little bit.
Yeah, he trades for the last 2 wood he needs, and he can move this turn if he wants, then trade for the last 2 wood, and then move again. Maybe that's the better play. But
Crimea's got some great optionality here, in a very good position. Yeah, and then so you like that Nordic leaves. That's the. Oh, okay, here we go. He's going with the block. Yeah, so I think moving the character off the factory for Nordic with the factory card, with the timing that we're at here, would have been bad because you're leaving like a free combat victory on the factory for Crimea. But since he's going with the block, that improves things a little bit. It's still going to be a free-ish battle victory, but it's going to stop him from being able to access the factory.
Nordic
So
can
that's a nice
get.
move. And you just go right into the lake.
Next turn bolster into a mech and get the power star and or Actually, they've got some options here because they get a power off their factory card, so they could produce, go to 8 workers, use the factory card, and then bolster into a mech if they so chose. They've got some different ways they can finagle it. Okay,
Yeah.
Rusviet trades for the last 2 food they need, and then can't deploy a mech. Okay, so if I'd been Rusviet there, what I would have done is I would have moved again that turn, maybe spread, and then taken the character to that encounter, because in that situation, you had enough food on the ground to do one more enlist, so you're guaranteed 1 bottom row action. And then if you get food or metal off the encounter, you can trade for the other one, get your mech, and then move again to get your last enlist. So getting food or metal off an encounter is a pretty high probability play. Rusviet moves last turn and goes to that encounter. There's a good chance they don't lose the bottom row action turn that they just lost.
Yeah. Yeah, they had. Okay, so
Crimea
yeah, they
not bringing
definitely.
the character here. This could be
I
a
would have moved
bluff.
to the encounter too. That's weird. That was an interesting play from BB Scythe. Yeah. So, okay, you think they're bluffing because they didn't bring the character?
They could.
Potentially.
Could.
Yeah.
At least not going all out here.
Yeah.
I don't think they throw 12.
No.
Not a true
This was
bluff.
just a simple block, retreat to lake, move to stall them from the factory for 2 more turns, basically. And by that time, Nordic could reblock or someone else can reblock them. So,
And they bring a worker there so they can pick up adjacency to 2 more lakes on that tundra. Drop in a building. Gonna be the armory, looks like. Good
oh
good
yeah,
second
so
building
lake
choice.
adjacency. That was a nice move, yeah.
For me, up by 17 now.
Yeah.
Nordic gonna go ahead and rush to the 2 stars. I think I might have produced there, to be perfectly honest. I think I might have produced there, used my factory card for some spread to get another enlist, and then bolstered into my last mech after that and the power star.
So they went with the Riverwalk. Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom out of
I thought
here.
they were I thought they were at 13 power
I gotta check
before doing
something
that.
for just a second. You got the reins.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. So it looks like we've got Rusviet. Unless my screen is messed up, there's an attack coming in onto Crimea on the oil. Rusviet moving out to the factory. Rusviet bringing 4 workers to the factory.
Looks like I missed a Rusviet move to the factory.
Yeah.
Did you swear a bunch while I was gone? Do I have to edit you out later?
No, I think it'll be okay.
All right, good.
Yeah, no, my screen is like, it shows that Crimea is being attacked on oil. Like it's got the red highlights around it. So I might need to just edit. Oh, okay, it fixed itself. So yeah, so Rusviet getting another one of their enlists off, enlisting upgrade, and picking up the factory card, one combat card to deploy a worker on a mech and get 2 money. Interesting choice.
I mean, Rusviet locks Crimea off of the factory, but I don't think Crimea cares right now. I don't think Crimea needs a factory card here.
Yeah, I also don't think that there were good factory card options based on what Rusviet picked.
I mean, Crimea doesn't
Probably.
need another combat. They produce, they move, they end.
Produce, move. Crimea needs 2 buildings still.
1 building and 1 mech.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my game is. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to rejoin. I'll be back in a second.
So here's the produce. Crimea gonna drop Wayfair. Probably on that mine, would guess.
So BB was just blocking, basically. That was the point of that entire move.
He did get an enlist off it, didn't he?
Yeah, that's true. But any
Game's
move would
over.
have done that. Yeah.
Game is over. I don't think the combined effort of Nordic and Rusviet this turn can do anything about a 17-point lead and a Crimea that can spread through a mine while getting their last building.
I just don't. Yeah, they don't need they don't need any combats. They just need the building and spread. So, yep, that was a clean victory from Dur. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but I don't understand anything that could stop that. I think Prince Ali just getting some spread. Yeah,
And it's going to end up being about a 17-minute game.
yeah, very fast. The first game was extremely drawn out. The second one was pretty quick, and this game was extremely quick.
So, I mean, I
Even
don't.
with everything going right for Nordic,
I mean, it's
it's
hard
not
to count
really
out.
in the game.
It's hard to count out BB, but I don't. 17 points, and for me is going to pick up another like 8 or 10 after they move. Yeah, and they do get 15 points with this strategy.
Yeah, and that was, I don't know what the coins at the end of the game for Prince Ali were, but I bet they were under 10.
After a terrible misstep in game 1, I would argue, by Dur, he has come back to play 2 really good games. One sort of caution to the wind, machine over muscle, Rusviet Engineering game that worked out for him, combined with a little bit of luck and some really good play. And now just a masterfully handled Crimea Industrial that just no one on this board had an answer for.
Yeah, this was just clinical, this game. So,
So
and I think Dur's signature move is unconventional building openings, I believe. So,
I think he's used this one before.
yeah, I mean, I could see why. It's quite good. It's very strong. Usually that's just like a novelty. It'll have some sort of strength and some sort of deficit, but it seems like it's really only a strength. It got him moving a little slower, but it worked perfectly in this situation.
I mean, I guess theoretically Rusviet could have a 4-star turn here, right? No, they can't reach 2 combats. They can't get 2 combats. So, no. I mean, they're spreading out, but there's no tiebreaker in play anymore because Dur's going to carry 2 games. Yeah. That is so exciting. We're celebrating my daughter's birthday tomorrow. Her birthday was actually in January, but between our family catching COVID and my wife's grandmother dying and a bunch of stuff that happened, here we are in mid-March celebrating a January birthday. Good game, Dur. Well played. Well earned. Gonna go to number 1 overall seed here. Yeah, BB makes a valiant effort, goes 1 coin ahead, but it's not gonna be enough.
He's definitely made a cool pattern in the center of the board here as his last move. I may be a little bit behind you, but yeah. So Dirk could just pick this up.
It's shaped like a scythe, isn't it? Or a sickle, rather.
I think so.
But there's a sickle
Something
on the
like
front of the scythe board. Gonna drop the worker there, bring another one up to this. Oh no, he's gonna knock Rusviet's score down a little bit because why not? And there it is. Well played. Well, Ninju, thank you for joining me, man. It's good to have you on. We'll have to do this again. I want to congratulate the players, and best wishes moving on for you guys, unless you play me, of course. And then a pox upon your play. And Prince Ali, best of luck getting through with 7 points. A few tough breaks these games, but overall, whatever happens, great tournament. And thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll do this again soon.